This was my identity.
Nobody talks about how freaking hard it is to be a dentist. What most people talk about is how this affects the patient. What nobody talks about is how this affects us. Dentistry is ready for this. Now is really the time. Welcome to Wellness in Dentistry. Today we're going to be talking about the top 2 mindset shifts to beat burnout in 2025. I am one of your hosts, Dr. Kyle Stanley. I'm a dentist, tech entrepreneur, speaker, and researcher. And you are joined by your other host and my very good friend, Dr. Martin Mendelsohn. Martin is a disabled dentist, coach, speaker, and author. And his first book, One Move Makes All the Difference, is available for pre-order wherever books are sold. And I've read it, and it's awesome. And together, we've helped thousands of dental professionals pursue wellness in dentistry. Martin, this is going to be a fun topic because we don't know what we're going to talk about, meaning you don't know what I picked and I don't know what you picked.
That's true. That's true.
So this is our top 2 mindset shifts. So we each pick one.
Yeah.
So basically my top mindset shift and your top mindset shift, and how these are going to help beat burnout today in its current form in 2025 in dentistry. So I'm going to start with you.
Okay. Well, we got to do our disclaimer though, that, of course there are likely more than 2. These are our picks, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yes. We are very realistic and beating burnout is not one thing.
No.
There are priorities. There are things that maybe have more weight. There are things that are easier to implement. There are things that take shorter time or impact more people. But no, it is not one thing. It is system, and it is it is practice as well.
Yeah.
So good. That's a very good caveat that this is not one thing. You do this, oh yeah, burnout's gone. However, both of these mindsets can really change your life.
Yep.
Let's start with you.
What say you, kind sir? So I'm going to share with you a phrase. It's a tool to use in your mind, and then I will explain what the mindset shift is. Okay? Because I'm all about theory and application, not just theory, because, theory doesn't go far if you don't know how to apply it. So the phrase is this. You ready? Life is not a domino game.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
So domino games, you set up dominoes in parallel vertically, and you tip one over and they all fall down. So the phrase that every client of mine knows real well is, quote, did you have a bad day or did you turn 5 minutes into 24 hours? And so this is all about the true reality from a psychological perspective that things are not connected. And there is a foundational principle in my first coaching certification that talks about assumption. And it's very much as the word is defined, but in application, it is nobody wants to work anymore. All patients are insurance minded. All dental companies are just out to get me and get their highest dollar.
My patients don't want comprehensive treatment.
My patients don't want comprehensive treatment. I mean, shoot, before I even was educated on any of this, I remember standing there listening to Frank Spear over and over and over again say, are all your patients not interested in comprehensive care, or are some of your patients not interested in comprehensive care? Which is a brilliant example of what we're talking about. And so let me take this in 2 parts. First of all, life is not a game of dominoes, or life is not a domino game. You spilled coffee on your scrubs on the way to work or on your way out of the house. On your way to work, somebody cut you off. You get to work and, Sally, your main assistant, or Johnny, your main assistant, called out sick. And the next thing you know, you're thinking to yourself, I'm having a bad day. And then you end up justifying everything else that you encounter the rest of the day by, see, I told you I'm having a terrible day. Well, the fact that you spilled your coffee and somebody cut you off, and the fact that Johnny is sick, they're not connected. They just are. And You can say, well, that's easier said than done. And that's absolutely right. Why? Because we've trained ourselves to believe this. And I'm sitting here as living proof, and others in my universe have trained ourselves to the opposite direction. So the tool is life is not a game of dominoes. And you stop yourself and you stop the cascading vicious cycle from occurring by getting real with yourself. Now, the example I usually use for people to help them visualize this to gain a deeper understanding is this. It is very difficult these days to find good team members. No one's denying that. But there's a cost to thinking that there's nobody out there. And so, almost without exception, there are some rural areas in this world, of course. But with some exception, or a few exceptions, if you think about how many people are in your community versus how many people you need to be fully staffed, come on, really? And this is the example that usually hits home for people. You're sitting there saying to yourself, nobody wants to work anymore. The last 3 people ghosted me. And, this person's probably not going to work out either. So let's flip the script. Think about, imagine, please don't do this. Imagine walking out into the waiting room to that individual, that human being that did show up for an interview, and you look at him in the face and go, you're probably crappy. You're probably not going to work out. You're probably going to sit here and you're going to ghost me, or you're going to steal from me if you've unfortunately had that happen, which many dentists have. Can you imagine what that person would think of you? I want you to really sit and think about that for a minute. And that one example oftentimes gets through the noise. Because if you were in that shoe or in that situation and somebody said that to you, what would be your knee-jerk reaction? What would you say if I said to you, Kyle, you're just like everybody else? What would you say?
I think I would be so taken aback that
Yeah,
I wouldn't know what to say. Like, I
yeah,
just met
yeah,
you. What?
yeah. Like you might be thinking, even if you didn't have the wherewithal to say it, it's like, how dare you? I'm not like everybody else. I'm
Yeah.
my own unique person.
Yeah. I mean, now with, after listening to Jefferson, what's his name? Jefferson
Fisher.
Fisher, I would probably say something like, what was your intention behind that
Yeah,
comment?
exactly,
Were you
exactly.
trying to hurt me, or were you trying
Yeah,
to belittle me with
yeah,
that comment?
yeah. So what I'd say to you is experience is a wonderful teacher. And so if we go to the next level and you say to yourself, well, Martin, then how do I deal with this stuff? I'd say, okay, number one, we have to stop the cascade and say something that works for you. If life is not a domino game, works for you, great. If stop it, Martin, works for you, that's great too. Obviously, you can insert your own name.
Mhm.
But the next step, the next
I just,
step,
I just had this thought of someone driving to work and they're in traffic and they're going, "Stop it, Martin!" And like you've become their little devil on their shoulder, you know?
yeah. And then take a step back and say to yourself, okay, so I'm angry because the last 3 people didn't work out.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm allowed to be that way because true optimism is allowing your emotions to flow through and flow past you, not negating them and sitting there with rose-colored glasses and saying good vibes only. Good vibes only is the worst phrase one of the worst phrases human beings have ever created because it's toxic. And so then the question becomes, okay, so I've had this experience, can't do anything about this experience. What did I learn from those experiences? What role, if any, maybe not, did I play in that scenario? And what can I do differently this time so that I'm not in the same boat next time? Or what can I do so that to the best of my intentions, I don't end up in the same boat next time? And now all of a sudden, you're looking at opportunity versus challenge. You're looking at ways forward versus being stuck behind a wall. And it can change your thought patterns, your actions, and our thoughts drive our emotions that create actions that manifest our lives. So
I think the one of the biggest things that I took away from that is stopping the spiral.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of dentists that you and I have talked to,
Hmm.
and they do get in this spiral.
Hmm.
And the spiral can go very deep
Yeah. Yeah.
because, you have that morning, you get cut off, then Johnny or Sally doesn't show up, and then you've got the patient that says that they hate the dentist, and you're just, got again. And then the lab case is late, and then you go home, and like me right now, my almost 3-year old has the flu, and she's sick, so my wife is home with her, so I've got to put other things aside to do stuff with my son, and I've got to, and it's challenging, and you can really spiral
Oh,
on that.
100%.
But having that self-awareness to stop that spiral
Yeah.
just this, like if this is the first time you're hearing this episode can be extremely powerful for you.
Yeah.
Should just have the self-awareness that something is bad, right?
Hmm.
Today I'm just not feeling good. I had one of these days the other day. And I remember I drove somewhere and I was driving somewhere and I'm like, I'm in a bad mood. Why am I don't even know why I'm in a bad
Yeah.
mood. I think I had read an email earlier that made me angry and I remember, but I was proud of myself because I had the self-awareness. And while I was driving, I did just some breathing as I was driving. And I ended up feeling better once I got home.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I had the self-awareness. So why I'm saying this is because it's so easy to spiral. I
Yeah.
think especially with we dentists, because
Yeah.
we're very analytical and we have a lot of things going on at the same time.
Yeah.
Treating patients, doing hygiene exams, talking with our spouse, fixing something at the house, or whatever, picking up our kids or our dog. I mean, like we got so many things to do that's very easy to spiral. So I think that was probably my biggest takeaway of this is
Yeah.
knowing that you can even have 5 dominoes go,
Yeah.
and then that sixth one is going to stay up this time because that's your
Well,
choice.
correct. And so when you talk when you talk about stopping the spiral, we'll use parts of the example that you just verbalized. So how true is it that the following thoughts are just as valid? Well, I'm really upset that my daughter is sick. I feel so grateful that I have the financial resources to be able to go to the store and buy her some medicine. I'm so
Right.
grateful that I have medical insurance that I can go to the doctor and it's not going to bankrupt me. I'm so
Mhm.
grateful that I have a wife that's able to share the caregiving of my daughter. You see what I mean?
So
Like,
true.
and when
So
people
true.
look at me like I'm crazy, I'm like, why is this not as important as the other
And that's
stuff?
not good vibes only.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's choosing what you are focusing on, period.
Yep.
It's what it is.
Yeah. I just want people to sit in that for a little bit because there were so many powerful things that were said in the last 10 minutes with stopping the spiral,
Yeah,
focusing on the positive, focusing on
yeah.
what you have. I mean, this is one of the reasons why there's so much research on gratitude.
Hmm.
It's like people are happier not because they have more
Yeah,
necessarily, but
yeah,
because they're focusing on the good stuff.
yeah. Well, and I'd like to share, I didn't even tell you this, but last Saturday I had a bit of a spiral from a mental health perspective, and I didn't know why. There was nothing really that happened, and in fact, what was going through my brain Saturday morning was actually literally some of the opening lines of my book because it starts with a letter from Martin, and it starts talking about, you think people who write books like this are always happy all the time, and actually we're the
Right.
opposite. We've just come out the other
Yeah.
side. And I've matured so much in this area that I've listened to my teachings and I've listened the things I was taught, excuse me, and I've listened to my therapist and others. And so instead of trying to say I shouldn't be this way, I need to stop it, I kind of leaned into it. I was like, okay, well, I feel like crap. Why do I feel like crap? Well, this and this and this and this. And I started to realize they weren't real things. And so what am I actively doing to shift? Well, what's one of the best things we can do for our mental health? Exercise. Did I
Mhm.
exercise on Saturday? No. Why? Because I did it on Friday. So
Mm.
what have I done this week? I shifted my workouts. So now we're recording on a Thursday. I worked out Tuesday. I'm going to work out after we're done, and I'm going to work out Saturday morning. I'm not going to give myself the opportunity to start spiraling. And so I share that because I don't want people to think that people like you and me don't have bad days. Quite the
Yeah.
opposite. It's
Yeah.
how we deal with our bad days that potentially sets us apart in how we navigate this thing called life. That's
Well,
the
this is
difference.
the whole idea of mental resilience.
Yeah.
I did my mentally resilient dentist masterclass. Um, when this comes out, it'll be about 2 weeks after.
Hmm.
And I had someone comment and say, "Oh, so we're just supposed to be resilient to all the shit that's happening around the
Yep.
world, and we're not supposed to try to change any of the things happening with the DSOs or with student debt or with insurance problems." And I basically wrote back to them, and I know this person, and I basically wrote back to them and said, no, you need to have resilience because shitty things are always going to happen.
Hmm.
But don't just deal with it. If you can control it, control
Yeah.
it. But if you can't control it, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But you have to be resilient to those specific things.
Yeah. What I would say, I would offer a slight alteration. If you can't control it, redirect to something you can.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can hear people kind of recoil. What do you mean I shouldn't worry about it? I shouldn't worry about what's going on in the other side of the world, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is we need to be careful because we have enough stressors in our own life around things we can control that if we choose
Right.
to focus on things we can't, that can cause a spiral in and by itself.
For sure. And I think more people focus on things you can't control than what
100%.
you can. This goes back to Stephen Covey's circle of
Mhm.
influence that
Yeah.
I like to teach. And it really was a huge mindset shift for me that I
Mhm.
learned from one of my coaches.
Yeah. I mean, I've gone out of my way to make certain shifts in my own life. For example, um, I choose how I digest news.
Hmm.
It's not as often as it used to be.
Yeah.
It's never first thing in the morning. I
Hmm.
do not look at social media first thing in the morning, with some exception would be LinkedIn, but typically LinkedIn isn't
No.
news or politic bent
Yeah.
kind of thing like other platforms. So I've made some very specific choices to allow myself to focus on the things that I can control and not allow myself to spiral due to the things I cannot. Because
Hmm.
trust me, there's many things in this world going on right now that affect me directly and personally that I could spiral out of control on, but I'm choosing not to because there are certain elements of that that I just can't control. So I therefore need to continue living my life in a way that serves me, my clients, my friends, and my family, period.
Yeah.
So, all
Okay, do
right.
you want to know what mine is?
I do. I was going to
My
ask you.
top mindset shift to beat burnout in 2025
Is
is dun, 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 dun. Everything is a skill waiting to be learned.
okay. Tell me
Yeah.
more.
So what I mean by that is even just what we were talking about,
Hmm.
focusing on like what you said with gratitude, right? Thank
Hmm.
goodness that I have a wife that can take care of my kids, and thank goodness that I can take the morning off of work to,
Yep.
drive my son to where he needs to be because my that gratitude is a skill. Just
100%.
like how prepping a crown is a skill. Just
Hmm.
like how doing a sinus lift is a skill. I think we
Hmm.
dentists think that skills are only things that are done with our hands. But the smallest skill is even a mindset shift. So, one of the ones that I was going to talk about that I decided not to was focusing on what you can control.
Hmm.
Now, that's a
Hmm.
mindset shift.
Yeah.
It's a skill of practicing it to where it becomes your standard thought.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just like how what you're talking about with stopping the domino or stopping the spiral.
Hmm.
That is a skill that starts with awareness
Yeah.
that is practiced over time.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I think that we don't give ourselves enough grace in this.
Hmm.
It's like, I mean, one of the biggest skills and also kind of a mindset shift is living between the stimulus and the response.
Hmm.
So this is what Viktor Frankl that
Yeah.
may have been misquoted, or
It's Stephen Covey, but yes.
Stephen
Yeah.
Covey, but
Yes.
misquoted to someone else, right? Um, living between the stimulus and the response. First of all, it starts with the awareness, knowing that
Mhm.
there is a stimulus, a response, and a space between the two.
Yep.
But then that is such a skill.
Hmm.
And so why I'm saying this is because we as dentists need to know and think about how you master a clinical skill. So
Hmm.
let's say you're 5 years into practice and you say, you know what? I really, I really want to start doing more comprehensive ortho.
Hmm.
How are you going to do that, Martin?
Hmm. Well, if I wanted to bring this into my practice, I think the first thing I would do is research the courses that would offer the ability to bring that into my practice. Maybe talk to people that I might know that have done it. Maybe, crowdsource on social media. Then I would take the course. Then I would come back and I would implement it, but then I would have to do it.
Right. See, all the things that Martin just said was time, effort, and money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's spending time researching, finding things out, talking to people, communicating, see who the best teachers are in this. He's spending money taking
Hmm.
courses, maybe taking time off because you have to take the course, or
Yep.
bringing a staff member with you, or going out to lunch with a rep that may be using the certain bracket system or whatever it is, right? Time, money, and effort.
Yeah.
And so don't think that you're going to gain all these skills without putting in the time, money, and effort.
I love it.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you. That should be the mindset shift. So the mindset shift is that everything you do is a skill. And what
Hmm.
Martin and I talk about, and a lot of the skills that we have been practiced. We've
Hmm.
put time, money, and effort into it. I mean, I know the
Yeah.
people that take our Light Side Live course, whenever they give an example, we do something called Crucial Conversations on the second
Hmm.
day, where you bring a crucial conversation that you've been meaning to have or you think you should have.
Hmm.
And it's funny, Martin will rifle off the script, and everyone's like, oh, even me, and I've heard this multiple times. I'm like, wow, how do you do that?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I practice it.
Mhm. Yeah.
I put
All
the
the
money
time.
in, I put the time in, I trained with this person, I read this book, I've done these courses, I've done it in my own life. And those are just skills.
Hmm. Absolutely. And, side note, I always chuckle when I teach these skills and I see people and they're people that have told me or I'm aware or they told me later that they really wanted to be there and learn. And these are the people, it's some of them, excuse me, are, not taking notes, not participating, refusing. Because what I usually say is you got to spit it out of your face
Yes.
in order to get it. And if
Mhm.
you're here, why would you not take the opportunity to do it here
Yeah.
versus think you're going to be able to do it later? I love this idea that you just shared because you couldn't be more right. You couldn't be more right.
Yeah. And so the whole why I'm saying this is have the self-awareness. So like
Hmm.
a lot of what Martin talked about in the beginning of this episode is the self-awareness of this.
Yeah.
Have the self-awareness of maybe where you're falling short. So
Hmm.
maybe it's communication patterns, maybe it's
Yeah.
leadership skills, maybe it's mindset shifts.
Hmm.
And then take the time, money, and effort
Yeah.
to do it and get better at it.
Yeah.
And that will impact your life so positively. But don't think it's just going to come easy. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like anything. I mean, am I would say a pretty good athlete. I grew
Mhm.
up playing high level sports. I'm one of these annoying people that I try a new sport and usually I'm okay at it, right? I'm usually not
I
bad.
dislike people like you,
I
sir.
thank
But
you.
yes.
Thank you very much. Tennis is not one of these things. Golf is not one of these things. I tried both of these thinking, well, yeah, I mean, I played hockey, I played water polo, I played volleyball. I mean, I was a dancer. I did all these things. I'm going to pick up this racket and I am just going to kill this. Oh my God, it was horrible. Now, if I want to get better at tennis, what am I going to do? I'm going to get a tennis coach. I'm gonna
Hmm.
find a friend that wants to play tennis. I'm gonna watch
Hmm.
tennis
Hmm.
videos on
Yeah.
YouTube. I'm gonna follow tennis influencers. I'm
Hmm.
gonna,
Hmm.
I'm gonna put money and time and
Yeah.
effort into getting
Yeah.
better. And to think that these soft skills are any different
Yeah.
would be silly.
You're making me think of something about putting the time and effort in. My keynote when I'm on like main stage for a big meeting is 60 to 75 minutes and there's no slides. And so it took months to understand, internalize, memorize, whatever words you want to use. And I put the time in.
Yeah.
Today, if I were giving this lecture next week, I know that I have to practice it 3 to 4 times in order to be ready to give it in the current time. Now, I've spent at this point hundreds of hours giving this keynote, and yet I still spend 3 to 4 hours, and it's probably more like five with preparation and stuff like that every single time.
Yeah.
And
And
I
people will
always,
see you and say, you're just a natural speaker. That's what it
yeah,
is. It just came natural to you, right?
yeah, no. And and I focus highly on the transitions and, I'm actually in a mastermind group of speakers with Jeff Savilico, who's a huge speaker and a certified speaking professional from the National Speaker Association. He's put together this amazing course. And so I'm with all these other huge speakers, and it's amazing what people don't realize goes into the art of speaking. But it's just another example that as fluid as the third party experience is with witnessing that other individual, you have no idea what went in to
Hmm.
getting that person to where they are today. You
Yeah.
have no idea.
And so this idea is soft skills are
Hmm.
also skills.
Yeah.
Hard skills
Ugh.
or, doing a task, a
Yeah.
physical task, right? For us, it's very easy, right? Prepping a crown, doing a veneer, taking a digital scan, doing a digital
Hmm.
smile design, placing an implant, extracting a wisdom tooth. Those are all things that we got better at after spending time, money, and effort on this.
Yeah.
And so don't think that doing quarterly reviews is any different.
Yeah.
Don't think that having crucial conversations is any different. Don't
Yeah.
think that dismissing patients is any different.
Yeah. Don't think that your thoughts are any different.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's I think a great combination of our two, which
Hmm.
is yours is like controlling your thoughts
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
mine is the skill to control your thoughts.
Absolutely.
And if you
And
take both of ours and you put this together,
yeah,
I think this will be a major shift in preventing or helping your burnout.
absolutely. And it's so interesting for me to watch my clients because some people pick up on this stuff more easily and quickly than others. And yeah, I have a client that I'm proud of all my clients. And that varies depending on the week and what's going on with them and all that kind of stuff. And this one dentist in particular, we got on the Zoom this morning actually, and he's sharing with me just the way he's processing and thinking about things. And it was just night and day different than even 3 weeks ago. But he worked at it and he told me, he said, this was really hard. It wasn't that easy at first, but now, I've worked at it and I'm really starting to believe it. And I looked at him and I go, that's good because it's true. So it's skills are skills, period.
Yeah, I mean, just the other night I was giving that webinar, the Mentally
Hmm.
Resilient Dentist Masterclass, and there's one of my students that I quote, and let me pull up this quote, and his name is Ron.
Hmm.
Okay, he's an older gentleman, and Ron's story really is that he has been practicing for 40 years. He started off with five partners,
Oh,
and
wow.
over time, they either retired, some passed away, some moved out of the state or the city, and he's now been practicing alone for 9 years.
Hmm.
And he's starting to he's starting to have anxiety. He's starting to have fragmented thinking, going from doing a restorative case to doing a hygiene check to his wife's calling him, and he's having these fragmented thoughts. So Ron joined my course, Lightside Academy, and he put in the work. He, came to the live masterminds. He read all the he watched all the videos, he read all the workbooks, he did the action tasks, which are kind of like the little homework. And this is one of the things he said. He said, "I can control what I think about. I can be the air traffic controller of my mind. I
Mm-hmm.
can control what thoughts land and what thoughts don't.
Yep.
This would have benefited me much earlier in my career. I should have done this earlier." Now, why I'm bringing this up is because this is the next thing he said. You have to put in the work, but it will pay dividends in your career and in your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, you don't get this kind of transformational change without putting in the work. He didn't
Absolutely.
say, "Oh, I bought your course. Now everything's great," right? No. He spent the time. He read the stuff. He did the exercises. He practiced the, communication styles. He met up with us. I mean, he put in time, money, and effort. And guess
That's
what?
amazing.
He got better at it.
And I bet you a lot of money, because I see this all the time with my clients. It wasn't a linear upwards progression either. There were days where you felt like one of my clients typically says, "Well, I slipped this week," and my response always is, "Did you really? Or is that just part of your journey? Which is it?"
Mm,
And
hmm.
so growth is not this linear increasing sloped line. It just is
No.
not. But we talk about this in Lightside Live, difference between grace and excuse. So we can
Hmm.
give ourselves a grace for being human and slipping a little bit, but don't use that as an excuse to allow the negative thinking to spiral.
Yeah. So,
So
what final thoughts do you have? We've given our two biggest mindset shifts
yeah.
to prevent or to help burnout in
Hmm.
2025.
I think my final thought is this. Yes, it takes work. And if you're sitting there thinking, I don't know if I have the energy to put in to do the work, my genuine question to you would be, if nothing changes and you're in the same place that you were in today in a year, would that be okay?
Hmm.
If the answer is no, then you know what to do. That's what I would say.
One move makes all the difference.
One move. Yes, it's true.
Yeah, well, listen, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, we'd love if you would share this with a colleague if you think this would help someone that you know. And if you want to spend 2 days with us and get 12 CE credits, make sure to come on August 8th and 9th. We're going to be at Glidewell in Southern California. We're giving our 2-day CE course called Lightside Live. We're super fun, as you can see, and
Mhm.
it's going to be a really good time. So you can go to you can go to wellnessindentistry.com, go to our links, and you'll see the top link, which is our live course, Lightside Live. And we hope to see you there. And we'll see you on the next episode of Wellness in Dentistry.
Take care.